Hey everyone, this is Yaron from Ocean Swift. In this video, I'm very proud and happy to show you and go over everything and kind of take a really deep dive at our newest flagship Kontakt instrument, well, newest out of this viewing, Myth Rhythm, which is, as you might kind of guess, a drum and percussion, and actually it's more than that. It's an avant-garde let's call it a one-shots instrument, right? The most closest thing that you can think of as far as workflow and kind of raison d'etre and what it does is kind of like battery. So think about something like battery with a lot less bloat on one hand, um, more accessibility on the other hand. And really, the third big point is that unlike something like battery, where you have kits that you load in, here you have a huge selection of built-in sounds in the instrument. So when I say huge selection, I mean over 5,000. I think it's something like 5,300, something like that. So over 5K sounds that are already built into the instrument itself, with which you can immediately just grab something in sound design. And of course, not only the built-in sounds, but you of course have presets and kits and all of that that already come with the instrument. And with updates, there will be lots more. So as of this video, which is the initial release, there's over 200, I think 230, maybe I'm wrong, but over 200. And with the updates, there will come just many, many, many more snapshots. So think about like different snapshots for different genres and things like that. And of course, utilizing the thousands of built-in presets. Now, before we go on, quick disclaimer on this video. If you're looking to hear sounds and yeah, just examples of what you can do with this thing, there's tons of other videos. Just look on the Myth Rhythm page on our site and you will find sounds. In this video, the intention is really to go over the machine. So as you can see, I have it open in Kontakt standalone. I'm not even in the DW. What I do have connected is my Mark III keyboard. So I can play MIDI and twist some knobs, but I don't even know if we're going to do that too much, right? So I just want to show you the instrument. Okay, let's get to it. So as we mentioned, it's kind of akin to the battery workflow. So you have 16 different cells. It's a cell-based instrument. It's very easy to access each cell. You just click on the cell that you want to both view on the main view and edit. You have those little views over here for each cell. And as you can see, there's color coding, and the color coding kind of shows up in three places. So it'll show up over here on the top on the interface itself. It'll show up down here on Kontakt's virtual keyboard if you have it open. You can also not have it open. And it will show up on NKS compatible keyboards. So as of now, it's the Native Instruments line of control keyboards, complete control keyboards, and of course on Machina and all of that, you will see the pads in the software at least. So you can see the color coding and you can see the different cells, and as you already see, when I click the cell, you can also see it on the big screen. Each cell over here in the, let's call it the view area, also has a little meter. So if I now play this kick, you can see there's a stereo meter. So there's also panning over here in the controls. Let's quickly jump over here. So obviously if I pan it to the right, only the right side will be playing and showing, and vice versa for the left, etc., etc. So you have, it's more of an indicator, right? It's just that you can see kind of where you're at. All right, so we have the cell, we have the gain over here, and you have a solo and mute mechanism down here. So let's say I can solo the kick, but I can also solo other things I have here. So what is this? This is a clap. So I can solo these three, and then if I play anything else, you won't hear anything. But if I do play the clap, and I do play, I guess it's a hat. No, it's a snare. Or some percussion. Okay, it's like some percussive sound. So if I play that sound, then this will play. Obviously, if something is in solo, it can't really be muted. But if I drop the solo, then yeah, all the mutes, of course, will disappear, and I can also mute individual channels as well. This is of course more useful as you're playing something in a DAW and you have the full thing playing and you want to hear something. Quick note on the color coding. In our own snapshots, you will see often the kicks in red, stuff like snares in blue, hats in green, and then percussive stuff in like different shades of like purple and plum. But you don't have to do that. You can do your own color coding when you make your own presets. That's part of the beauty. That's what I was going to say. And this brings us already really quickly to the editing capabilities of each cell in itself. So we'll do that through the color. But just before that, clicking the cell, I'm just going back to what I already mentioned, not only shows it on the main view, but also shows that cell's particular parameters. So if I want to edit the color or anything else for the very first cell, I click on it over here. Then I can view its parameters. I look for the parameter that I need, which in this case is the color. It's available over here in a drop-down, and I can change it to whatever color I want. And again, it will correspond in the various places. So virtual keyboard here and on compatible NKS keyboards. So color aside, which is maybe, yeah, just an afterthought in the end when you talk about this big instrument, let's go back to the top. So I mentioned that this instrument has over 5,000 built-in sounds. What does that mean exactly? So for each sound, you have these same drop-downs. Again, every single sound has the same, it should be obvious, right? Every cell has the same controls. It's set up the same way, just 16 different cells. And the first two parameters over here are the type, which is kind of like different folders, let's say, of all sorts of sounds. Right now we're in the kick folder, so we're in a kick folder called Kick Goa Gabber. So it's this one, Kick Goa Gabber. So again, if I play now, let's go to Kick Gabber 1, which is the second menu, where you select the sound itself. It's all self-explanatory in the end, type and sound. Now I can play, and I can check out all the different kicks I have here. I can either scroll it with the arrows, or I can just reach into the drop down. So let's say I'm not into Gabber at the moment. I'm into the Goa part of this Kick Goa Gabber folder. Then it's a little bit quicker with the arrows, but here maybe you just want to kind of reach a certain area. So both the drop down and the arrows are useful. And anyway, here, and that's how you browse the sounds. Now a word on the sounds themselves. So having kicks for Goa and Gabber is kind of self-explanatory, but this instrument is so much more than a drum machine. I would actually argue that it's less of a drum machine and more of a hits machine and perks machine. There are tons of beautiful drum machines in the world, you know, so just to get like a kick, snare, and a hat and a crash where everybody has sampled everything already, you know, if our instrument did just that, it would still be cute. But I think maybe you as the user would fairly say, okay, I have these sounds, I have it already, I have other options, maybe I get your instrument, or maybe I get something else. What we have is just tons of avant-garde over here. So if we go, for example, this is maybe the most extreme. It's called SFX Life. It's just sounds from our very old, some of you might remember our free pack Sounds of Life. So just different sounds from Sounds of Life. And you can see now here, there's the whole sound. It's actually playing the whole thing, which is a pretty long sound. It's like this alarm sound that changes, which is a good segue to the different parameters that each cell has. So let's say I want this alarm sound. I don't want to sustain it like that, you know, I just want like a little hit. So I can turn on the amplitude envelope, bring up the decay just a tiny bit, and then I can use that as a completely percussive thing. The other side of it is maybe I'm a podcaster and I actually want to have a kit of all these different things. I don't know, we probably have something like that. Let's try to look for sound kits. I don't actually know if I did if we have a Sounds of Life preset, but maybe we can look for something else, because I did see something that I really like. Oh, maybe, what is Life Engine? Okay, this is different like construction and engine sounds. So yeah, obviously very avant-garde. And as you can see here, the envelopes are not even open, so it'll play the entire sample. which is very cool already. But obviously you can just create percussive sounds from all of these. So you have a lot of control. We looked really quickly now. I got carried away, I know. Just started clicking random things and seeing if I could do something cool instead of going on with the video, which is yeah, maybe it's a good sign about the instrument. But a lot of crazy things. I'm kind of oscillating between wanting to show you more of the controls and wanting to show you more about the avant-garde sounds that are in here. Maybe let's look at one more because as I was scrolling and was looking for something for the podcast use case, I came across this one, and it's a really fun one actually. So this is from the time that I lived in Berlin. I was just always going on the S-Bahn and the U-Bahn, the public transportation system, famous public transportation system in Berlin. And just
Nächste
sampling. So we
Station,
have
Ostkreuz. Nächste Station,
Rathaus Neukölln.
nächste Station, Spandau. Nächste Station, Spandau.
S-Bahnhof.
Stockwar Straße,
S-Bahnhof.
Warschauer Straße,
U-Bahnhof.
Frankfurter Allee.
Mind the Gap.
Ausstieg links. Ausstieg in Fahrtrichtung rechts.
Mind the Gap.
Spandau, Warschauer, Frankfurter Allee. Ostkreuz.
Rathaus Neukölln.
So yeah, lots of crazy stuff, and if you dig around, you will find just really a lot of insane samples that are really fun and funny. And you can do a lot of ambient as well. Let's quickly go back to the controls. So as you can see, this is maybe an interesting example. A little bit, some of the stuff is turned off. But you can see the amp envelope here is turned on. There's some tuning going on. The sample start is being tweaked a little bit. But each layer also has more than that. You have filters for each layer. Let's look for something. I don't know. Percussive kits. So for example, I have this percussive hit over here. Let's make it a little bit longer. So we can kind of listen for a second, and every single cell has a full-fledged filter, as you can see. So a filter with cutoff and resonance, and then you have LFO, an envelope that you can throw over to this filter. After it, you still have more going on in the filter section. You have a saturator that you can turn on. And you have an additional low-pass, high-pass static filter, so they can't be modulated, so the envelope and the LFO cannot be sent to these. And they kind of just serve to help it sit in the mix. So just as an example, let's say I'm doing some filtering. So I don't know, let's select something. And let's turn on an LFO. So each layer has 2 LFOs. The first LFO can also be, so the LFOs can be sent to various destinations. In this case, we want to select filter cut. The first LFO, there's one small difference between the two. The first LFO can also be routed to the depth of the second LFO and to the rate of the second LFO. So that's pretty cool, actually. Like you can modulate the second LFO with the first LFO. But let's just be really simple at the moment. Let's route the first LFO to the filter cutoff and give it some speed just so we can hear it. So let's say we have this filter just doing something, whatever it may be. And then we can also sit it in the mix a little bit. Let's say we want just the top end. Or we want something like just this area. So the filtering is actually kind of, you can do a lot of sculpting with it, is what I'm trying to say. After the filter, you have the different modulations. I think they're self-explanatory beyond what we just saw. So amp envelope, filter envelope, pitch envelope, LFO1, LFO2. The one thing to mention is that you see that they can be turned on and turned off. The entire instrument, it's actually very, very low on CPU at the end of the day. like you can see, like, well, I think I'm on the wrong. Let me for a second. Let's jump to 128 samples over here on the M1. Yes, you see the whole thing is kind of really low on CPU, even if I have like replica going on, and because there's no real polyphony over here, right? The maximum polyphony is 16 if you play all 16 of these pads at once. It's meaningless in the Kontakt context, but still you can turn things on and off. The more things you keep off, if you don't use them, then the less CPU the entire instrument will use. Again, you don't really need to think about that, but just saying, right? Turning things off saves CPU. So whether it be the filters, whether it be the envelopes, the LFOs, etc., etc. Anyways, we were over here. As usual, I'm rambling, but maybe it's good info, I hope. So once the sound exits the filter, you did your modulations and yada yada, it goes into a dynamic section that each cell has. You don't have fine tune over this dynamic section. You have dynamics presets, but you have a bunch of them and they're really useful. And as you can see, they start with like a name and then like the name of the effect and the name of the preset. So there's it makes use of different effects within the Kontakt engine and different presets for these different effects. So you have, bottom line, you have compression presets, you have limiter presets, you have supercharger GT based presets, and you have transient shapers based presets. So you can just, let's say, just for the example, I want this particular cell to be limited to 0 dB. I can just turn that on. And if I don't want it, I can just turn it off. The last thing, you have a sense that for each layer, obviously. Well, why do I say layer? For each cell. For each cell, you have sense for the delay effect and for the reverb effect. Let's quickly jump over to the effects page and see what that means. We'll look at the insert effects in just a minute, but the send effects are over here at the bottom. It even tells you, okay, these are the send effects. There's two slots, as you saw over here, so delay slot and reverb slot individually. So you can send a signal to the delay slot or to the reverb slot. And these are over here. The delay slot has 3 different delays types that you can choose from. It's actually a little more than that because the replica has 4 types, or 5 types, sorry, inside replica itself. So it's 5 replica types, and then the twin, and then the psyche. And then the reverb slot has 3 different reverbs. So the gallery reverb, which is kind of like a classic reverb, the plate reverb, and the round reverb, which is a fun, just a really fun and good sounding reverb that it's based on the gallery reverb, but a little bit different with a little bit more character. So that's the synthesis chain. I thought I would actually talk way more because it's a big instrument, but in the end it's actually not, because it's 1 times 16 times. Like, you don't need to talk 16 times because it's the same thing over and over again. It's self-explanatory, I guess, beyond that a little bit, you know. So all the controls for each cell are over here. The effects are over here. We already talked about the send effects. The insert effects, so think of it like each individual sound goes to the send effect and then returns. But the insert effects are kind of like effects on the whole thing. So on the whole, maybe it's a good point to make on the dry sound. So the insert effects do not apply on the reverb and the delay. So if I, for example, add in a ring modulator over here, then it will affect the dry sound of each one of these, but not the wet sound of the send effects. So it's just worth to mention. But anyways, in the insert effects slots, you have a ring. It's kind of like fun effects and distortion effects. So ring modulator, freak, which is like a sort of interesting play on some like pseudo radio technology, fuzz, big fuzz, screamer, dirt, which are distortions, and then bite and lo-fi, which are lo-fi effects in the end. And then next you have the mod effects section. Here it's kind of kept pretty simple in this instrument. You have choral, which is a sort of advanced chorus, phases, which is a really advanced phaser, and flare, which is an advanced, well, it's a flanger, but like, I don't know, it's way more. I love this effect, but that would be a whole other video just talking about this effect. What is worth mentioning for the effects is that each one of these effects that you load, whether it be on the insert slots or on the send slots, they have their own mini presets as well. So you can browse the mini presets. So I'm in the ring mod right now. I have ring mod mini presets. I go to freak. I have the freak effects presets. And these are really all just really good starting points. Some of them have quite a lot. If they're smaller effects, so I don't know, fuzz has three knobs. It's even a little bit insulting your intelligence to have these, but still, there's a few presets also for the fuzz, which has 3 knobs. And the same, yeah, so for replica and for realm, lots of presets for all the effects. So that's it for the effects page, and now all that we have left is the options page. When you go on the options page, the bottom right is just some credits and yeah, just text from us, not really relevant to the operation of the instrument itself. The other 2 sections that you do have on the options page are the external modulation area and the NKS mapping area. Let's look at the external modulation first. So this basically allows you to use 3 different external modulators to modulate the different parameters for each cell. The available modulators are the velocity, so incoming note velocity, polyphonic aftertouch, which is really fun for drums. You know, sometimes something is like a hit, but you click the hit, you hold and wobble the polyphonic aftertouch, and it will affect something in particular. It's actually particularly cool for drum instruments because if you think about it, if it was channel aftertouch, then just, you know, I want to, like, you couldn't affect individual sounds, and this is a drum instrument, like the whole idea is individual sound. It's not like you're playing a chord on a synth or something. So as opposed to channel aftertouch, polyphonic aftertouch is useful aftertouch for drum instruments is what I'm trying to say. And it's really cool. You can use it to modulate the tune, the volume, the cutoff, or the resonance for each one of the cells. And it's kind of easy, right? So if let's say I want polyphonic aftertouch to modulate the volume of cell number 10, I just go like this, and then I decide on the depth of modulation. All of these are bipolar, which is cool that you can basically go either way with your modulation. So again, velocity, polyphonic aftertouch, and pitch bend. Pitch bend is just hardwired to pitch bend. It's how much of the bend range. So it's individual per layer. So maybe you want to move your pitch bend, but you don't want it to affect your kick, but you want it to affect some FX percussion that you have later on. And you're playing that entire loop that plays them both. So hitting the pitch bend, you know, it won't cause the kick to bend in pitch, basically. So that's it for the external modulation. If you, again, really last point on this, if you have a polyphonic aftertouch keyboard, explore this. It's really cool with drum instruments. The last thing over here, also relevant to only to people that have NKS 2 keyboards. So at the moment of this recording, we're talking about the Native Instruments Control Mark III keyboards. I don't know if in the future there will be others supporting NKS 2 technology. Hopefully there will be, but who knows? And we did something really unique here where the performance map can be set by the user. That means it's kind of revolutionary. That means that you can have your own NKS2 performance view mapping. NKS2 has performance mode and edit mode. Edit mode goes way deeper. We really allow for the entire instrument. In the performance mode, there are presets that we provide you. You can create your own. And of course, they all save with the preset, the big preset, I mean, that you save, like the actual snapshot in the Kontakt terminology. So it gets really deep with the NKS2. I don't want to really show this in this video. There is another video just about the NKS2 features of Myth Rhythm. So if you're into that, look for that video. I think you'll be really impressed with what you can do with it. So this is Myth Rhythm. Really encourage you to watch all the sound examples videos. I think they'll really turn you on. They're really cool. There's lots to explore here. Again, the sound types, there's really lots of stuff. There's everything from just normal drums to what you heard from Sounds of Life, to spoken word, to babies crying, to like cut up one-shot porn hits. synth stabs, animals, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So thanks for watching. Hope you grab Myth Rhythm, make some really, really awesome music with it. It's really cool for all genres, basically. You make music, you're gonna have fun with this, I guarantee you.